Texas and Florida once again leading the list of states that most Americans are moving to. U-Haul's 2025 Growth Index shows the top 5 are all Republican-led and in the South. So where are these people moving from? That was Larry Kudlow. They're leaving blue states like California, Illinois, New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts. Well, Larry, it sounds like you want to say something about this topic. So what do you think about the U-Haul index and where we're moving and what it means for America and growth in the economy?
It's telling you a story, isn't it? It's telling you a very important story where people are moving to. And I don't know all the details behind this thing, but just looking, this is taxes correlate very highly with this. It's not the only thing, but they correlate very highly. And I was just thinking, the Wall Street Journal article a couple years ago, in New York State, which is one of the losers, state and local taxes, not federal, state and local taxes in New York is 14.6%. Yeah. I believe that was the number. It's an old Wall Street Journal article. And it also showed how Florida had more people, but half the budget, spent half on Medicaid. But 14.6% is higher than zero. So you do, hope this comes up in the election, Bruce Blakeman versus Hochul. Texas, Dallas, state and local tax rate is 0.
Yeah, I know.
Miami, Dade County, and the other growth areas in Florida, state and local income tax rate is, wait for it, 0. 0 is less than 14.6. Now, I don't know. These are all, Carolinas brought it down. Tennessee, 0. Tennessee income tax, 0. Tennessee, fabulous. Maybe it's the hottest state in the country, Nashville and so forth. South Carolina. So, you know, somebody should say that, like 14.6.
Can I make a point?
Higher than 0.
I was always worried post-pandemic that, because these are all blue states that people are fleeing, some of them are sensible and some of them were wokesters who just felt like they were paying too much and so they wanted to go to greener pastures. But I have a few wokester friends who moved to Florida who can't stand the influx of, I will call them sensible people, and now want to leave Florida because they say that, you know, it's just been completely infiltrated. And so there's a period of time when I was worried that they were going to turn that state purple, bringing their vote down there. But they're actually getting pushed out ideologically. They can't stand it.
It's become more red, Florida. I mean, almost embarrassingly red. Place like North Carolina, purple state, red state now. Even South Carolina, red state, less red. I mean, Lindsey Graham always has trouble running for the Senate. That's because he's so goofy. But, you know, Texas, every year.
Yeah, we got to vote Lindsey Graham out. Get him out of there, coach. Get him out.
Or every other year, all the lefties, and this is the year we're going to carry Texas. No, they don't.
Yeah.
No. It's not even. The mayor of Dallas is a Democrat who turned Republican. I believe he's African-American. And
he is. I remember that. And I talked about it. I made a video on it, as a matter of fact.
He's been welcoming people to Dallas, right? Stock exchange developing in Dallas. Bankers, we all know Jamie Dimon, J.P. Morgan, more of them in Texas than there are now in New York. We've talked about that lots and lots and lots. Florida, too, right? Stock exchange, technology. Jeb Bush is involved in a whole consortium in some kind of Miami high-tech stock exchange. We're losing it here in New York. We're 14.6 versus 0.
Yeah, so Dagan, Taylor, I'm going to chuck it to you. We don't have much time left for this block, but you know, this whole like move Wall Street down to Texas thing.
Yeah.
You think that's going to happen?
You know what I do like?
I hope everything leaves New York. You know, I hope it all leaves because New York has just become absolutely ridiculous, especially voting for a guy like Mamdani, which I thought about making a video on him as well because that whole situation is absolutely crazy. But I want to dive into this clip from CNN and Harry Enton, I believe his name is, and him talking about all of this, the mass exodus from these blue states moving to red states and how devastating it is actually going to be for the Democrat Party. Because, of course, if you listen to these liberals, if you listen to Democrats, everything is hunky-dory, everything's on the up and up. But in reality, when you peel back the curtains, it's not. It's not. It's all a smokescreen is what they're trying to do out here, you know. And that is why you see, you know, a lot of these weird protests going on. Because it's all they have. It's all they have. It's a bluff, right? It's a bluff. And that's why I've continued to say, don't believe what you see. The silent majority, which is something that Uncle Trump said many, many years ago, it's a real thing. All you got to do is look back at this past election. We won. We won. And I know liberals will say that we didn't win in a landslide, but we did. We didn't lose a single swing state, not a one. We didn't lose the House, nor did we lose the Senate. We got both. And we gave Uncle Trump the popular vote. We are the majority. And I know, I get it. Sometimes it doesn't seem that way. It really doesn't. But we are the majority. Don't get it confused. All right, let's hop into this clip now.
Today, I wanted to take a look at some long-term population trends that really should set off a flashing red siren to Democrats nationwide while bringing a big smile to the faces of Republicans nationwide. Why do I say that? Because take a look at the big population gainers versus the last census back in 2020. According to the latest population estimates that take into account the population mid-2025, look at this. The biggest population growth this decade? All 5 of the states that Donald John Trump won in 2024. Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, and of course the great state of Arizona, where I spent my New Year's Eve. I love those folks out in Prescott, Arizona. These were the biggest gainers. The biggest gainers in terms of population compared to the 2020 census. Now, it's not just a red state boom. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at a red state boom here. But it is not just a red state boom. We're also looking at what I would dare call a blue state depression. Because who are the people? Who and where are the people moving from into the red states? Well, they're blue states. They're blue states. Take a look here. The lowest domestic net migration this decade. All 5 of the states that were won by Kamala Harris in 2024. Look at this. California, Harris's home state. New York, where I'm coming from right now, of course. Illinois, New Jersey, and of course the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which is a bastion of blue liberalism. These are the states that folks in the United States are moving away from and into the red states, which is propelling a red state boom. Now, this is interesting, right? But it could also have major political ramifications if it holds for 2030, the next census. Because take a look here. If, in fact, the 2025 population shifts hold for the 2030 census, look at this. Look at the House seat shifts by state. Remember, of course, we apportion the number of House seats depending on the population in each state. If, in fact, the 2025 population shifts hold for 2030, states that Kamala Harris won, they would lose. They would lose 7 seats in the United States House of Representatives. The states that Donald Trump won in 2024, they would gain 7 seats. Now, this isn't just about the House of Representatives, right? It's also about the Electoral College, because the number of electoral votes that each state gets is equal to the number of senators. Each state, of course, has 2, plus the number of House seats that they have. So what would this mean for the House of Representatives? Well, if you remember back in 2024, right, it was all about, we were talking about the blue wall. If Kamala Harris could win the baseline Democratic states and then add in the blue wall states of Michigan, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, she would get to 270 electoral votes. But if all of a sudden we, in fact, have applying the 2025 estimates, the population estimates, to the Electoral College, the blue states plus the blue wall of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin would no longer be enough. Under the current estimates, you get to exactly 270 electoral votes, the minimum needed to win the Electoral College. If, in fact, you apply the 2025 estimates, look at that. You would only get to 263 electoral votes if you were a Democrat, which would mean a Republican victory. Now, of course, we're still a number of years away from reapportionment, right? We take the census come 2030. But what we can say so far is we got a red state boom going on, a blue state depression going on, people moving from the blue states to the red states. And if it holds for 2030, well, it would make the Democratic nominee for president's job of winning the Electoral College that much more difficult.
Yeah, so when you hear or get a sense that everything's all honky-dory for the Democrat Party, it is not. It is not. And I don't see it getting any better. And this is the monster that they created. They created this environment for themselves. I think folks like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries see the direction that the party's going in. And they don't want it to go that direction, but they're forced to keep going because they don't have a choice, right? They don't have a choice, especially somebody like Chuck Schumer. He's going to have his job taken by AOC here shortly. And I know they'll come out on camera and say, AOC will say, no, I'm not running to become a Senate member, blah, blah, blah. That is a lie. Okay. Same thing with Gavin Newsom when he says, no, I'm not running for president. I'm the governor of California. That is a lie. It's a load of crap, but I don't see this turning around anytime soon. I really don't. And so I showed you guys, was that yesterday? I believe that was yesterday, where I showed you guys clips of former Democrats talking about how they can no longer vote for the Democrat Party because of how crazy they've become. And yeah, was that yesterday? Was that yesterday? No. Wait, was it? Yes. I believe that was yesterday. So yeah, they are bleeding people, not only in their own states, which is going to make the Electoral College a lot more difficult, but they're just bleeding voters in general. And yeah, not every voter is, running or sprinting to the Republican Party. As a matter of fact, I showed you guys a clip of a guy who even said himself, like, yo, I'm an independent, but at the same time, I will never even look at the Democrat Party. Okay, so not everybody is sprinting towards the Republican Party, but they're damn sure leaving the Democrat Party, and a lot of them are saying, I will never look back at the Democrat Party. So yeah, man, and like I said, the Democrat Party is only getting more woke by the day, and like I said, I don't see it turning around, not anytime soon. I think the prediction that I made a while back is becoming more and more likely, right? For those of you that haven't heard it, I think the Democrat Party will lose in the midterms, right? If they do win, it's going to be like barely, like by the skin of their teeth, right? And so maybe they take the House by one seat, okay, by one seat. Like that's what I mean by the skin of their teeth. Okay, like it'll be close. And then, of course, they'll lose in the next presidential election in 2028. And they'll probably lose the midterms right after that. And then the Democrat Party is going to have to come to a reality. They're going to have to come to a fork in the road where you're going to have the Democrats like the John Fettermans of the world who are going to splinter off from the far left, and the far left, they ain't coming with them. So the Democrat Party is going to split in two. You're going to have the more sensible Democrats who are like, yo, this has just gone way too far. Like, it was cool at first because we was, it seemed like we were gaining a bunch of folks. That was fine. But now y'all have gone off the deep end. Like, we're not winning any elections right now. Okay, we got to change. There's going to be those Democrats who are going to splinter off. And then the far left is going to splinter off on their own. And, they're going to be the lunatics and yelling and screaming, doing their whole nonsense, but they'll never win. And neither will the part of the Democrat Party that splintered off. It'll just be Republican dominance for, I don't know, 20 years. We'll see. But that's my prediction. The Democrat Party is going to have to split if it wants a chance to ever win again. Unless, of course, we get a Republican in there that just completely botches the whole thing, which I hate to say it. I mean, it's possible. Not likely, but it's possible, If we had a Nikki Haley, goodness gracious, or if we elected, a John Thune type to be president, like, my goodness. Jeez. Please no. Like, if we did that, hey, we deserve everything that's coming our way, right? But outside of that, I think it's total dominance for quite a while. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, all right? Thanks for tuning in. As always, goodness gracious, I couldn't get that out. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.